Welcome, curious minds. We will journey through the labyrinth of conspiracy theories that challenge our perception of reality. From ancient enigmas to modern-day mysteries, join us as we delve into the top 10 mind-boggling conspiracies that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Get ready to explore the shadows where truth meets speculation and prepare to have your worldview shaken to its core. Disclaimer: this video may cause you to question whether your microwave is secretly transmitting government messages. Sorry, popcorn not included. Let's get into it. We begin by journeying back in time to 1969. The world watched in awe as Neil Armstrong took his first steps on the moon. But could it all have been an elaborate hoax? Moon landing conspiracy? Not long after the Apollo 11 mission, skeptics began to question the authenticity of the landing, citing various inconsistencies in the footage and photographs broadcast to the world. One of the main arguments put forth by skeptics is the flag waving in a vacuum. They claim that, since there's no air or wind on the moon, the American flag shouldn't have flapped as it did. However, scientists explain that the flag's movement was due to the inertia from when the astronauts were setting it up. Once set in motion in the moon's vacuum, the flag could appear to wave. Another argument is the lack of stars in the moon landing photographs. Skeptics suggest that NASA would have been unable to accurately recreate the starry sky on a soundstage, so they left it out entirely. But astronomers argue that the stars were washed out in the photographs due to the bright lunar surface and the astronauts' reflective suits. So, while the moon landing conspiracy theory might persist, science and logic suggest that our journey to the moon was no hoax. The chemtrail conspiracy theory. Look up at the sky. Do you see those white trails left by planes? Some believe they are more than just water vapor. Now let's dive a little deeper into the rabbit hole. The chemtrail conspiracy theory has been around for decades, tracing its roots back to the early 90s. This theory suggests that the government is secretly spraying harmful chemicals into our atmosphere. These chemicals, according to believers, are hidden within the visible trails left behind by aircraft, also known as contrails. The reasons for this alleged mass spraying vary, depending on who you ask. Some say it's for weather control, others argue it's a form of population control, and there are even claims of it being a psychological manipulation tactic. But what does science have to say about this? Contrails are, in fact, a natural byproduct of aircraft travel. When a plane flies at certain altitudes, the hot exhaust from the jet engines can freeze, leaving behind a trail of tiny ice crystals. These trails can linger, depending on the humidity and temperature at that altitude. Critics of the chemtrail theory argue that if the government were spraying harmful chemicals from such great heights, the wind would disperse them unpredictably, making it an inefficient method for targeted exposure. So are we really being sprayed with harmful substances? Or are these just contrails, a harmless byproduct of modern aviation? The evidence seems to indicate that these trails are harmless contrails, not sinister chemtrails. But as with all conspiracies, you're left to make up your own mind. 3. The Watergate scandal. In the world of politics, no conspiracy theory is perhaps more infamous than the Watergate scandal. Picture this. It's the early 70s, Richard Nixon is America's president, and the nation is in the throes of the Vietnam War. Meanwhile, a seemingly innocuous break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters, located in the Watergate complex, sparks a sequence of events that would shake the foundations of American politics. The conspiracy theory that the president himself had orchestrated this break-in to spy on his political rivals sounds like something out of a Hollywood script, doesn't it? But, as the saying goes, truth can be stranger than fiction. And indeed, the truth slowly began to surface. A money trail was uncovered, leading back to the committee to re-elect the president. Secret White House tapes were discovered, revealing Nixon's involvement in the cover-up. The evidence was damning, and the nation watched in disbelief as the president's role in this political espionage became undeniable. Nixon, faced with impeachment, did the unthinkable. He became the first American president to resign from office. The Watergate scandal had claimed its ultimate casualty, but it didn't end there. The aftermath of Watergate led to sweeping reforms in American politics and a surge in public skepticism towards the government. It left a lasting impression, a dent in the public's trust that remains to this day. Watergate remains a powerful example of a conspiracy theory that turned out to be true. The Prism scandal. In the digital age, privacy is a luxury, and the Prism scandal only served to underline this reality. The Prism scandal, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the world, is our fourth conspiracy. The year was 2013 when Edward Snowden, a former National Security Agency contractor, leaked classified documents that revealed an unsettling truth. the existence of a clandestine surveillance program called PRISM. The conspiracy theory surrounding PRISM was no longer a theory. The evidence was in black and white. The US government had been secretly collecting and analyzing vast amounts of data from major internet companies, allegedly in the name of national security. This massive data mining operation was not limited to suspected criminals or terrorists. Millions of innocent, everyday people had their personal information scrutinized. Their emails, their search histories, even their social media interactions. The privacy invasion was staggering and the implications chilling. The PRISM scandal spurred a global debate on privacy versus security. It made us question the true cost of our digital existence. We began to wonder, are we ever truly alone when online, or are we always under the watchful eye of Big Brother? The PRISM scandal is a stern reminder that sometimes our fears about privacy invasion are not just paranoia. In the interconnected world of the internet, our personal lives can become an open book, ripe for reading by those who hold power. The PRISM scandal reminds us that sometimes our fears about privacy invasion are not unfounded. Sometimes the conspiracy is not in the event, but in its cover-up, the lead poisoning scandal, a narrative so shocking it's almost unbelievable. Yet the evidence is there, and the implications are staggering. In the mid-20th century, lead was a common component in various products, most notably paint and gasoline. Despite mounting evidence of its harmful effects, especially to children, the lead industry did a masterful job of obscuring the truth. They funded studies that downplayed the risks, while lobbying to keep regulations lax. It was a conspiracy of silence, a cover-up that spanned decades. Eventually, the truth came out. Independent research confirmed what many had suspected. Lead poisoning was a silent epidemic, impacting countless lives, especially those in disadvantaged communities. The cover-up was real, and it had allowed the lead industry to profit while public health suffered. The fallout was immense. Governments scrambled to phase out lead, but the damage was already done. Years of exposure had left a lingering legacy of health issues, from cognitive impairment to cardiovascular disease. And the worst part? The culprits largely escaped accountability. This scandal serves as a stark reminder of the power of industry and the dangers of unchecked greed. It's a chilling testament to how the pursuit of profit can overshadow the well-being of the public. The lead poisoning cover-up serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths some will go to hide the truth. What if everything you knew about the Earth was wrong? What if it was hollow? Now that's a thought to chew on, isn't it? This is the premise of the hollow Earth theory, an idea that dates back centuries. Some of the earliest proponents of this theory include Edmund Halley, yes, the comet guy, who in the late 17th century suggested that the Earth consists of several concentric shells separated by individual atmospheres, with possibly a luminous atmosphere in the center. Fast forward a couple of centuries and we arrive at the 20th century interpretation of the hollow Earth concept. This version proposes an entire subterranean civilization thriving within our planet. The entrances to this inner world, the North and South poles, of course. Now let's bring in the science. The seismic data from earthquakes have shown how waves travel through the Earth, providing hard evidence against the hollow Earth theory. The Earth's density, gravitational pull, and magnetic field are also consistent with a solid, not hollow Earth. And yet the allure of secret worlds and hidden civilizations remains. The hollow Earth theory has found its way into works of fiction and the heart of many a conspiracy theorist. While the hollow Earth theory might make for an interesting story, it falls flat under scientific scrutiny. So the next time you look down at the ground, remember, it's not just surface deep. There's a whole lot of solid Earth beneath your feet. The reptilian elite conspiracy theory. Imagine a world ruled by shape-shifting reptilian beings. Sounds like a plot from a science fiction movie, right? But some believe it's our reality. The reptilian elite conspiracy theory, a tale so wild it's almost impossible to ignore. This theory's roots can be traced back to ancient times. Civilizations worldwide from the Sumerians to the Mayans have depicted reptilian creatures in their art and folklore, often associating them with their deities or rulers. Fast forward to modern times, British conspiracy theorist David Icke put forward a theory that several world leaders and celebrities are part of a global cabal of shape-shifting reptilian humanoids. According to Icke, these so-called reptilians have manipulated events to keep humans in a state of fear, thus feeding off our negative energy. The theory is compelling in its audacity, if nothing else. It's got the allure of a Hollywood blockbuster, complete with villainous overlords and a beleaguered human race. However, the evidence supporting this theory is, to put it mildly, scarce. In fact, it's virtually non-existent. There's been no credible scientific or photographic evidence to back up these claims, and many argue that this theory is nothing more than a product of our collective fascination with the unknown and the powerful. As intriguing as the idea of a reptilian elite might be, it remains firmly in the realm of science fiction. In the midst of a global pandemic, a new conspiracy theory emerged, placing Bill Gates at the center of it all. Let's take a closer look. Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, has long been a figure of intrigue. His vast wealth and influence in the tech industry have made him a subject of many conspiracy theories over the years. But in 2020, a new one surfaced. Some theorists suggested that Gates orchestrated the COVID-19 pandemic for his own nefarious purposes. The theory has its roots in a TED Talk Gates gave in 2015, where he warned about the world's unpreparedness for a global pandemic. This talk, coupled with his philanthropic efforts in global health, led some to believe that he had a hand in the pandemic. Some even suggested that he was using the crisis to implant microchips in people. However, these claims have been thoroughly debunked by multiple sources. The TED Talk was based on scientific consensus about the risks of a global pandemic. His foundation's work in global health is well documented and transparent. There is no evidence to suggest that Gates had any involvement in the creation or spread of COVID-19. While it's easy to look for a villain in trying times, the facts do not support the theory of Gates's involvement in COVID-19. The Freemasons. Secret societies, hidden symbols, world domination. Welcome to the world of the Freemasons, or so some would have you believe. The Freemasons, a centuries-old fraternal organization, have long been the subject of conspiracy theories. Some say they are puppeteers pulling the strings behind world events, from wars to revolutions and even economic crashes. This conspiracy theory's origins are as old as the Freemasons themselves, dating back to the Middle Ages. The secretive nature of the group, their rituals, and their iconic symbols have all fueled speculation. But it truly took root in the 18th century, when the society's influence was at its peak, with numerous members in positions of power. The main arguments supporting this theory often point to the high-profile members of the society. Powerful figures in politics, business, and even royalty have been known to be Freemasons. Additionally, their symbols are often found in public architecture and on currency, further stoking the fires of conspiracy. However, despite the intrigue and mystery surrounding the Freemasons, there's a distinct lack of credible evidence to support these theories. Critics argue the society is nothing more than a social club, albeit with some quirky traditions. They point out that its influence has waned significantly over the centuries, and that attributing world events to a single group is a gross oversimplification. The Freemason conspiracy, while fascinating, remains more fiction than fact. Princess Diana. The tragic death of Princess Diana shocked the world, but could there be more to the story than a simple car crash? In the early hours of August 31st, 1997, Diana, Princess of Wales, was fatally injured in a car crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris, France. Her partner, Dodi Fayed, and the driver, Henry Paul, also lost their lives. The only survivor was bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones. But what if it was more than just an unfortunate accident? Conspiracy theories began to swirl almost immediately. Some claimed that the British royal family had orchestrated the crash, unable to accept Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, a Muslim. Others suggested that Diana was pregnant and about to announce her engagement to Dodi, which would have sent shockwaves through the British establishment. There were also those who pointed to Henry Paul, the driver. His blood alcohol level was found to be 3 times the French legal limit. But conspiracists argue that Paul was an MI6 agent, and his drunken state was either fabricated or forced upon him to cause the crash. However, the official investigation, led by Lord Stevens, found no evidence of foul play. The crash was attributed to Paul's intoxication and excessive speed. Diana's seatbelt, which was not fastened, also played a tragic role in her death. Despite numerous conspiracy theories, the official investigation found no evidence of foul play in Princess Diana's untimely death. Well, folks, we've journeyed through the rabbit hole of this conspiracy theory together. Up to you to make up your mind on what is true or untrue. If you've survived the twists and turns, give us a like and subscribe for your conspiracy survival badge. Your support keeps this channel alive, and we can't wait to dive into more wild theories with you. Until then, stay weird and stay subscribed, and stay